First off, I want to lead off this video by saying one thing that I wasn't able to say in my video 2 days ago. Leroy Hill, his injury is a little more serious than I thought. He's going to be out for 2 weeks. He's going to miss the Niners and probably the Bears game. So that's a tough loss. Luckily, I think we have pretty good linebacker depth. I like Will Herring. I like D.D. Lewis. I like Lance Laurie. I like Hawthorne. So some of those guys are going to have to step up and fill in. I think Tutupu will be fine, and Aaron Curry obviously is ready to go. So we got to get good play from those guys now, because I think the linebackers are still the strength of our team, because I like our backups, and those guys are going to have to step up. And but obviously Hill was better than any backup we have, so we're going to have to step up. So that aside, it was a good first week. I'm 14-2 in picks, which is incredible for the first week in my opinion. I think 3 people in our Pick'em League went 15-1. Props to you guys. I have 129 points. Roller Coaster Freak has 130, so he's in first. I'm tied for second with like 2 other people. So Roller Coaster Freak, you had an awesome first week, 15-1. What are you going to say about that? But I'm right behind you. I'm gonna catch you, dude. It's gonna happen. So see you at the top. Okay, week 1. Where do we start? Had a lot of good games. I was impressed with a lot of things I saw, but there's a lot to talk about. The Miami-Atlanta game to lead things off. I was really not interested in this game. I don't think I checked the status of it once. Obviously, I wasn't getting coverage of it, and I was just kind of uninterested in the whole thing. I always like to see Tony Gonzalez have a huge game. He did. Best tight end to ever play the game, in my opinion. Cannot get better than Tony Gonzalez, if you ask me. And, Atlanta looked real good out there. I'm going to stick by what I said earlier. I'm not totally sold on the team, but their defense was awesome today. Abraham getting after the quarterback, and Miami didn't score until the game was pretty much over. So they stopped the run real well, and I thought Atlanta would win. That was one of my 14 wins this week, so that's awesome, and they came out strong. Not a lot to say there. I didn't watch it. I really wasn't that interested in this game. I don't know why. Shout out to Cam Cameron. His Baltimore Ravens played an awesome game offensively. 38 points. Really, Kansas City was in this game. They scored 24 points. It was very fluky. They had a blocked punt. They had a long interception return on Flacco's, one of pretty much his only mistake of the game. So, really, I think that the Ravens, to some extent, showed that they missed Rex Ryan. But that defense still held Kansas City to under 190 total yards of offense. And Kansas City was just able to capitalize on excellent field position and special teams to stay in this game. But Cam Cameron, 500 total yards of offense. Flacco, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think for the first time in his career he's done that. So he is well on his way to improving vastly over his rookie year. So, I like to see that. So I think all's well in Baltimore. I know they got in a dogfight with a bad team probably in Kansas City. I think it was a little fluky. I think Baltimore is going to be good. And Ray Rice, Ray Rice was a guy I stayed away from in fantasy because I did not think he was going to do it this year, because I thought Willis McGahee and LaRon McClain would get most of the carries, but Ray Rice, he's looking like he might do something after all. Eagles, Panthers, and I never liked Jake Delhomme. I always thought he was overrated. Even when everybody loved him for, playing a great second half in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, I never really thought he was anything special. And seeing all these Panthers fans wanting his head I feel a little justified, because now I think Panthers fans not only think he sucks now, I think a lot of them realize that he was never that good. He was just lucky before, because I don't think there's any difference between Jake Delhomme now and Jake Delhomme a few years ago. That Jake Delhomme was just luckier. This Jake Delhomme is not so lucky. Eagles played an excellent game. Without Jim Johnson, They cooked up all kinds of pressure, and Jay could not handle it. He, was obviously throwing it around out there and playing awful, but you got to give it up to Philadelphia for taking full advantage. They didn't drop interceptions. When they saw the opportunity to take the ball away, they did it, and they played awesome. Special teams touchdown, and I heard about the McNabb injury. Really, the offense for Philadelphia didn't do much because they didn't have to, but I love the Garcia signing. I actually think Garcia gives them a chance to win the next 2 to 4 games. If he has to play the next 4 games, Philly can win. I'm not guaranteeing it. We'll see what happens when the week goes along, but I think Garcia can beat the Saints. He can. Kolb cannot. If it's Kolb, forget about it for now. The Garcia's problem is that he's so old. Near the end of the year, he gets worn down and he has nothing left. So if he only has to play 3-4 games this year, he's fine, I think. I got to watch almost all of Minnesota and Cleveland. I saw some articles talking about Favre, saying, oh, he only threw for 112 yards, only threw 1 touchdown, only threw 21 times. That's a good thing. The less he throws, the better. If he goes out there and throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns and throws 60 times, that's not a good thing. No, I think that's bad for Minnesota. I really do. I mean, it's good because, the more he drops back to pass, the more he passes, the more his arm wears out, and the more he gets hit, the more he wears out over the year, and the more likely it is he gets hurt. So, honestly, Favre should not have a Pro Bowl season this year. Favre should not put up good numbers. He just needs to be capable. And really, if he puts up a big numbers in a game this year, I think that's a bad thing because it just means he's going to be worn out when it really matters. So that's what I'll say about that. Adrian Peterson, awesome second half. Percy Harvin catching that touchdown, and Minnesota looked real solid. They started off slow. Cleveland got their special teams touchdown. And, Quinn definitely looked shaky as the game went along, but, that's going to happen. I thought it was a good decision to start him over Derek Anderson. I'm going to stick by that for a while, and I think they got to take their lumps now and see if they have anything with Quinn or not. And you got to find out sooner rather than later, and they're finding out. Colts and Jaguars. The Colts had many opportunities to run away with this game, and they didn't because Jacksonville was really, really tenacious. They did not give up. There were so many times near the end of this game where I thought Indy was going to drive for a field goal or a touchdown and the game would be over. But Jacksonville kept holding them just out of field goal range. They kept holding them just out of scoring range. And I was wildly impressed. I didn't get to watch this game, but I was very impressed with how tenacious that Jacksonville defense was. Their offense, they ran the ball well, but it just wasn't enough. Really early in the game, the 2 turnovers by Indy, the interception in the end zone by Derek Cox, which was a great pick. I saw it, by the way. It's a great pick. And the fumble by Adai really helped Jacksonville stay in the game. And, it's a tribute to, it is week 1 and weird things do happen, but I have to say, Jacksonville could be headed toward a winning season because I was impressed with what I saw yesterday in spite of the loss. They're going to compete. I think they're going to compete with Tennessee very, very viciously for that wild card spot. So, 14-12. These rivalry games between these two teams always very intense, always very good. I like to see that. Manning 300 yards, threw a nice touchdown to Reggie Wayne. Gonzalez is hurt, one of the many injuries of this week 1. I know Sean Andrews on the Eagles actually got hurt too. I forgot to mention that. He's out for the year. So that is brutal. Gonzalez out for 2 to 6 weeks. That's rough too. I don't know how they're gonna replace him, but they got to think of something. Cowboys, Buccaneers. Looking at the numbers, it's like Tampa Bay had 450 yards of offense, I think, and they would have had 500 plus if the receivers on Tampa Bay could hold on to the passes from Leftwich. Because Leftwich played well. I was really impressed by him. Cadillac Williams played awesome. I thought his career was over, but he played well. And, looking at this game, Dallas won by 13 points, so that should be really good. But, looking around, the Cowboys fans were not happy with this way this game went because their defense played pitifully, and Tampa Bay may have won if not for dropped passes. Now that's part of the game. Tampa Bay's receivers, they don't have the best receivers in the world, so they're going to drop passes and they're going to blow games because of it. But at the same time, you got to say the Dallas defense, especially up the middle, was getting gashed, and maybe that's because they don't have Chris Canny. Maybe it's Keith Brooking. Maybe it's something. I don't know exactly what it is, but something was now working because they got gashed defensively. But offense showed up, played awesome. The whole everybody's having fun with the Tony Romo having the best day of his career without T.O. thing. And it is funny. I wouldn't take it any more seriously than that. But, I thought that Dallas probably took care of business a little more, and I give them a little more credit than a lot of Cowboys fans do.